In this video, we will dive into the power of national gods by understanding the concept of national gods and how they have shaped and influenced the beliefs, rituals, and cultures of different societies. Join us as we explore the world of worship, of deities, of religion, of mythology, culture, belief, rituals, symbols, symbolisms, pantheon, and divine intervention. Who is your national god? Who are your national gods? Is it Jesus or Allah? Are they really effective? Are they there? Do they live? If it is Allah or Jesus and they are your national gods, we see their bitter treatment, enslavement, colonization, and extreme exploitation and slavery. Therefore, these two or any gods associated with them cannot be our national god. Let's look at the race. What we call a nation, what we call an ethnic group. What we understand and what we agree is that the original group, the original people to be on the earth, were melanin dominant human beings, and all others came out of melanin dominant human beings, and hence we now have sub nations, sub races, and other ethnic groups. So we need to understand the two terms, melanin dominant human beings and melanin recessive human beings. And this table shows you straightforward that melanin dominant father, melanin dominant mother produce melanin dominant children. And once any of the variables are changed, then we have other races coming into play. So let's define a nation. We define it broadly as an ethnic and racial grouping that share many physical characteristics and many similar practices. And the physical characteristics are skin color, which is melanin dominant, as well as facial features, this type of hair, their bone structure, the size and size of their eyes, their totems, their history, and certain amount of measurable melanin or melanin recessiveness inside them. The racial problem is easily resolved when we understand that the original race was melanin dominant and all the other races came out of that. Race is not a social construct. Race is nature's construct. The original race held the keys, almost anything that you can think of today, and we lost them and abused those keys. So when we look at the Europeans, Caucasians, they have a national god and they have national gods, and they follow the Judeo-Christian value system. Their national gods are a fundamental aspect of many cultures, yes, around the world. And they've been able to exploit their national god violently because of the nature of their national god. And they now hold immense power, and they are a significant people on the earth. 3,000 years ago, they were non-entities. Today, their national god is seen as a divine being who possesses the power to shape the world. He is worshipped by billions, revered, and held in high esteem by those followers who believe in the ability of that national god to provide divine intervention in times of need. So what's the question we have here is that what about our own national god as melanin dominant human being? What has happened to them? We look at India. Since it attained its independence from the dictatorship of Europeans, India has become an emerging superpower. They have stuck to their national gods. They have not abandoned their national gods. Meanwhile, Africa has thrown its national god and national gods into the dustbin of history. And today, it's worshipping the gods of its destroyer, the gods of its colonizer, the gods that caused their enslavement. And we are suffering seriously. Melanin dominant human beings lost the concept of the power of national gods, which in many cases, national gods are tied to the mythology and culture of a particular society. They embody the beliefs and values of the people, and their stories are woven into the fabric of that society. These stories often involve epic battles, heroic deeds, and supernatural feats, and they serve as a way to explain the mysteries of the world and the human experience. So melanin-dominant human beings today embrace the myths of melanin-recessive, cooked-up epic battles, heroic deeds, and supernatural feats. Of course, the stories that they read in the Bible, in the Torah, in the Quran, in the Gita are not authentic. But they have been designed in such a way that by sheer political force, economic force, they have helped these entities to be flourishized and given life by the mental beliefs of the conquered people. And now we fear other people's national gods and not worship or revere our own as melanin-dominant human beings. There are rituals and symbolisms that play a significant role in the worship of national gods. These rituals are often elaborate and involve intricate movements, chanting, and offerings. Symbols such as statues, altars, and sacred objects are used to represent the deity and serve as a focal point of worship. Because melanin-dominant human beings follow other nations' gods, they perform rituals that are detrimental to their own power. So you see that they celebrate the Passover and they explain the Passover and what their god, their deity did to melanin-dominant human beings. And they think that this is it, that God triumphed over Pharaoh, not knowing that they are Pharaoh themselves. That story has no historical evidence. There is no evidence for Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, or the Exodus, or the plagues. These stories were crafted as useful tools by the Semites to hijack our history and pin their own history and dampen our own points of worship and point of power. If you doubt this, follow us clearly here. When you adopt other nations' gods, eventually you throw yours away. In Hamit, there is no evidence of a leader named Moses, no synagogue, there is no mention of Jews or 10 plagues in its extensive history. We have not even a single word about the early Israelites in Hamit, neither in monumental inscriptions on the walls of the temples, nor in tombs or in any other inscriptions, not even a grave, a bone, or proof that the Jews or Hebrew Israelites lived in Hamit. This is because this story is total fiction, written and used to indoctrinate us so that we believe it, and in that way we hate the civilization that our ancestors founded. It is very, very clear that the pyramids, the Sphinx, are much, much older than the biblical timeline of the birth of Adam, of Shem, the progenitor of Jews. So it is impossible that the Jews could have built those structures when they were not even there. At the end of the day, our pantheon, or a pantheon of national gods for any other nation, can be vast and diverse, so that with each deity possessing unique powers and abilities, we have to associate ourselves with that deity that synchronize with our racial origins, so that the aspects of nature, such as the sun, such as the moon, and the forces of these entities and these bodies can be connected with us, synchronous to our birth lines and our tribal and totemic lines. Other deities are associated with human endeavors such as agriculture, war, or love, and other capacities and abilities. Each deity has its own domain and its own set of followers who believe in its power. So if it does not have a set of followers, that deity will not work, and you would think it does not exist. So when we look at African gods, African deities, we look at divine intervention, which is another significant aspect of national gods. Their followers believe that they have the power to intervene in the lives of mortals and provide protection, guidance, and blessings. In times of crisis, people turn to their national gods for help and seek their divine intervention at a racial level. Would they intervene if your consciousness is attached to other deities? Why would they help you if you don't know them? All you need to say to them is to acknowledge their truthfulness and acknowledge their existence, and all will fall into place. National gods are a class of guardian deities and divinities whose special concern is the safety and well-being of an ethnic group or of a race and of that group's leaders. Unfortunately, most of our leaders follow other racial deities. You can see here President Robert Mugabe having mass, following the Jesuits, and following Jesus, a European deity. The same with the former president, the late President John Pombe Magufuli, who was a devout Catholic. He is shown here celebrating Ash Wednesday in the Catholics. And most of our other leaders worshipped Baphomet, a god crafted and created by secret societies aligned to the white brotherhood, the Europeans. And therefore, we cannot expect the deities to work for us and to be our deities. They are not. They don't originate with us. So contrast this ideology of guardian figures such as family gods who are responsible for the well-being of individuals, clans, and professionals, or personal gods who are responsible for the well-being of individuals, and then you have gods that are not of your own line or bloodline or race or nation. How do they protect you? They can't. They know of colonizing you and enslaving you. These guardian roles augment the functions that a divinity might otherwise have. So the national gods, the national god that we are talking about, is the supreme above us as a race. And then we have our individual requests as individuals. This is where national gods, they play a crucial role in shaping the beliefs, rituals, and cultures of societies. So when you have a society of people that believe that saving Christ and slaves as a slave is good, when they have a book that says you are a slave, you must be enslaved, these national gods, our own national gods, do not interfere with your free will choice or being tricked into it. Our ancestors today suffer as they look us, their descendants, when we go to Makkah and forget about the Arab slave trade and forget about the Christian slave trade. So we've got another group of melanin dominant human beings today that follow the Bible and the prophecies in the Bible. They explain some things very, very well. For instance, in this section, they say that the Bible, what they call the Stockholm syndrome, which is a psychological condition where a captured person abused by somebody ends up loving the abuser. And they then go to the cases of Deuteronomy 28 and they pick from that evidence for the situation we are in today. But what they ignore is that the Yahweh they follow is a Canaanite deity. Here is a coin, a drachma, a silver coin struck by the Persian administrator of Jerusalem in the 4th century. It shows the deity seated on a wheel and also the wife. The Hebrew Christian god Yahweh or Jehovah or Adonai, prior to taking on holy monotheistic attributes in the 6th century BCE, was a part of the Canaanite Pantheon in the pre-Babylonian captivity period. Archaeological evidence reveals that during this time the Israelites were a group of Canaanite people. Yahweh was seen as a war god. So when you worship a god of war, equated with El, Allah, and Asherah, who was often seen as El's consort, his wife, you must then realize that we are at war against ourselves. Because the Canaanites were melanin dominant human beings, but they were penetrated by another race. Now that's why they are called Semites. So that's why the Judeo-Christian mentality is pinned on war, conquest, genocide, victory, slavery, and colonization. Only by knowing your national gods will you hold immense power and become significant. You will know what to worship and what to revere. Their stories, rituals, and symbolisms will serve as a way to explain the mysteries of the world and our human experience on earth. Who is your and our national or racial God, who offers us hope and comfort in times of need and provide a sense of belonging and identity, whom we can turn to? Who are these deities, national gods for us? For the answer, just ask us and we'll show and share with you. So that's it for this video. We hope you enjoyed this exploration of national gods' power. Don't forget to like and to subscribe and to share this video. Subscribe to our channel, Kamiti Iburu Ethics, for more fascinating content like this. You must know your melanin dominant racial national gods or god. Ameni. Yohamaneja Topi, priest Rabbi LM Dumizulu Kunkenim Jaganja, saying, yes, he is ready, she is ready, and they are ready to work with us at a national level, even at a personal level. Ameni.